It's controversial, and I don't know why I was gifted with the mission of trying to restore this to the sacredness.
Well,
It's been a very, very interesting journey, I got to tell you.
it seems like a pretty low key kind of blend in with the woodwork thing to do.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll tell you, it destroyed my art career. Changing my name to ManWoman, which was all about me going into the unity and becoming totally one. And then in my dreams, I was always male and female.
And you did that in the early 60s?
Yeah, and the dream people were always calling me ManWoman, and eventually I started signing that on my paintings.
So in the early 60s when you did that, this was before the psychedelic movement and before all of that, so you were really kind of a front runner and out of the blue for...
Spontaneous mystical experiences took me up into the oneness of everything.
But in terms of culturally, there was no foundation or experience for it in the general public. I mean, to the general public, you're probably, what is this guy doing? It's like a psychotic break or...
My mom thought I was having a nervous breakdown. My wife was worried because she thought, how are we going to feed our kids? I had a couple of kids at the time. So I went to see the local priest, and he said, "My son, I'm sorry, I have to be the one to tell you this, but you're insane. You should go turn yourself in." I thought, oh man, I'm on a spiritual journey. I've just woken up to the great holiness within the soul of myself and everyone else, and recognized that and had experiences. I said, well, what about St. Teresa of Avila? What about St. John of the Cross? Because I'd read some of their experiences. Well, then you should come back to the church. And I thought, come back to the church and get back into the box that I finally broke out of. And religion is not for me. Spirituality and who we are as sacred beings has got nothing to do with religion. Religion's all about power and control and shame and fear, and it's politics.
There's a quote from a gentleman named Samuel Lewis that always stuck with me. He was a Sufi teacher in San Francisco Bay Area in the 60s. And he said about the church, if you believe in angels, you're in. If you see angels or talk to angels, you're out.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're having your own personal spiritual ecstasy, why would you need their church? You don't.
So another quote I came across a while ago, I have no idea who said it, which I really love, is all religion is just a translation of nature. I mean, all religions are us trying to make sense of reality and whatever this place is, which is nature. And there's various translations. There's good translations, there's bad translations. I mean, one could also say that about art. There's good art and there's bad art, but you could also say it's all a matter of your own personal experience of it, and some people like whatever they like, good, bad, or indifferent.
And especially if you go way off the path and start to act like a crazy person. Look at Van Gogh. I mean, the guy was totally mad. He did some of the greatest paintings. Nobody wanted to even look at him and his art when he was alive, and now you couldn't buy his paintings for $100 million.
Would you say that our culture is about conformity?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And that art is a way of, call it nature, call it whatever, rebalancing the system, because when we get too conformed and too into a system, that the artists bring it back in and say, wait, look at this. I mean, art, they could be the crazies, they could be the insane people, or they could be the people that are the sanest of the bunch and saying, wait, look, this is what's going on and you're missing this.
Well, because we're living in a false construct, you see, and when my dreams inspire me, it's raw, it's pure, it's coming from a place that we have not been able to tame. It's untamed. And that's the art that I like, is the art that is untamed, that speaks from a deeper place, that isn't all about the dollar signs, ka-ching, ka-ching. That kills the artist, When art and money get together, the art sucks.
So how do you inspire people? How do you wake people up with art? Or how do you...
Well, you know what? I never set out to inspire people, and the fact that my work inspires people is great, but that's all about spirit. It's not about me. I mean, if I'm inspired and I do something and then that inspires others, that's That's coming from a bigger spirit, a greater spirit. It's not just like I'm going setting out. I didn't set out to inspire people. I set out to express the deepest needs, the deepest blessings that I've experienced in my own soul, and naturally that's going to light a fire in other people.
So as artists, if we're open to the inspiration, we create the art, but don't be attached to the outcome and don't expect. We might get praise and we might just be vilified as well.
Yeah, rebels never get awards, I mean, you just don't get rewarded for being the rebel, because the rebel is trying to upset the system so that new energy can flow in, and the system is trying its hardest to keep the walls up, to keep it all contained. And
institutions fear radical ideas, which become institutions which fear radical ideas.
Exactly.